lot of friends that have recently turned 30. It's been fun, right? It's been a wild roller coaster celebrating with them.
Look, people turn up for the 30.
People turn up for the dirty 30 all the way. But I feel like 30 seems like a pretty significant milestone
Mhm.
for me because it's like 20s, you're dipping and dabbling, you're exploring. But for me, I feel like when you turn 30, you're supposed to quote unquote know your direction and know your lane. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I feel like 20s, you're adulting.
By
And then
30, it's like
30s, you're an
you're an
adult.
adult, you
You
grown.
you are an adult now. Feel like 20s, like you're a kid who's just adulting.
hmm
It's a verb.
hmm
30s,
It's a noun.
it's a noun.
It's a
It's
noun
your
now.
identity now. You are now an adult. Get it
Sheesh.
together.
Sheesh. That's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about what does it mean to be 30? What are some of the highlights, some of the barriers, challenges, lower back problems that come with being being 30 years old? Queen, you ready to get into today's episode?
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah. Excited?
I just feel like it's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a vibe. It's gonna be a vibe. But without further ado, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at them4show.com, our Instagram at them4show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making.
And welcome to the M4 Show. Welcome back, beautiful people, to the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game. And of course, I have my beautiful, my locked up, my saucy queen herself. Please introduce yourself.
What is up, everybody? My name is Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
Mm-hmm. And before we get into today's episode, today's sponsor is Zandria Real Estate. If y'all looking for a house, if y'all looking for a home, a castle, a building block to building your kingdom, and you're looking for someone to support your journey, make sure y'all tap in with Zandria Real Estate. What's her motto? What's their slogan, Sinclair? It's gonna come up.
Okay,
Bow.
thank you.
Come on now. You know Jair got you.
My company helps clients buy and sell real estate, and I believe she is also based in California.
Come on,
Shout out to the West Coast.
West Coast. So if you want to tap in, make sure y'all go to Zandria. That's Xandrea. Gray. What's the last name? I can't see.
Gary. I don't know if it's Gray or Gary, but it is Garay.
Spell the whole thing one more time.
So that is www.xandreagaray.com.
Yeah. All right. So again, we're gonna get into today's episode. It's gonna be a fun one. If y'all got questions, if y'all got comments, definitely go ahead and drop them, especially for the folks, because I know when some people saw this title, why is 30 a big deal? I know there were some 47-year-olds like, man, y'all ain't know, but y'all still young out here. I already know. So go ahead and put that in the comments. You can baby us all you want to, but I think for us, and especially I think in our group of friends, we're like kind of the older tier of the group of friends. We have like some older folks, but I feel like I'm thinking about like Markel, Ona, like they're all like younger.
Yeah.
When we did Ryan's 30th, like a lot of the folks around were younger than us. So I feel like 30 seems like a big deal. All these 27-year-olds are like, goodness, 30, you're old. So, we want to talk about both sides of that coin, not just the getting old part, but what it means to be 30, some of the good, some of the bad, all that good stuff. So for you, Queen, what does it mean? I know you a youngin'.
I got another year left in me,
You a youngin'. But for you, when you think of turning 30, what does that mean? What does that symbolize in your head?
I feel like it's just the time period where you should have your life at least like together in some form or fashion. Like you
Mhm.
said, like you should know where you're going. You don't have to have reached your destination. I feel
Mhm.
like we're still early on in the journey of life, but you should at least have a destination in mind or have a direction in mind. If you think about like you were a ship kind of floating around in the ocean, I feel like in the 20s, you're kind of just like you're like a cruise. You're stopping at different ports. Like, okay, it's kind of
Mhm.
nice here. Okay, it's over here. Okay, I'm popping over here.
Mhm.
I feel like 30s, you're supposed to be like, okay, this is where we're going.
You're a jet.
Set sail.
Mhm.
This direction. So yeah, I just feel like professionally or career wise, not again. I think you don't necessarily, I think, need to be locked in a career at 30 for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
But I think that is a good time to start really evaluating whether what you're
Yeah.
doing, if you're doing the thing you want to do for the rest
Yeah.
of your life.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like 30 as a assessment point.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let me see, what did I accomplish in my 20s? What did I discover about myself, about the world? What do I like, what I don't like? And then yeah, 30, you go ahead and double down on some of those things.
Yeah, because I feel like if you go the traditional route of you graduate high school, you go to college, you get a job. I feel like sometimes out of college, you're just trying to get a job to survive, right? Start
Mhm.
paying back those student loans, all of that. You don't necessarily have a lot of time there to evaluate, like, am I going to be able to do the dream job that I want to do?
Mhm.
So I feel like, yeah, you may kind of get into a job, work that for a few years, but I feel like you eventually, I think, get to a point where it's like, okay, is this actually making me happy? Is this what I want to do? Am I making the impact I want to make? All of that. And I feel like, yeah, 30 is a nice, I think, natural built-in point to kind of
Mhm.
really start asking yourselves those questions and acting accordingly, acting on it.
Yeah. So I'm getting to some questions, obviously, but I want to just put this here for your thoughts, for their thoughts. Average black woman lives to 76. Average black man lives to 69.
Mm.
Black men, we struggling,
Come on,
y'all. We
come
gotta
on.
eat more vegetables, work out more, yoga. We gotta do
Stress
stress
less.
management. You see her face? Come on now. But 30, you are almost halfway through your lifetime.
Okay. Whoa, whoa.
Am I getting too deep for you on this
I'm
podcast?
just like, that's that. Yeah, that's
30, you are halfway
I mean, but
through your
that's
lifetime.
no, no. No, plan to live much past 60. I feel like
That's
you need to be careful
beautiful.
not to become a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I hear you, and that's beautiful, but I feel like some people don't live with enough urgency. And
Mm,
then they explore through their 20s because it's like, oh well, I'm just 20, I got time. And then they explore through their 30s and like, oh well, I have time. And then now you're 62,
mhm,
still working the job. You never wrote that book that you wanted to do.
mm,
You never traveled the world because you thought you always had time.
mhm,
And I feel like I rather live thinking I only have until 60, live all the dreams, right, that I ever wanted to do,
mhm,
and then be at 60 like, hey, I'm still here. All
mhm,
right, well, what else can we do now?
mhm,
Rather than being 60 and then really just starting. So I just wanted to put that out there again, just for the sake of urgency.
mhm.
And I heard this on the Earn Your Leisure podcast today. I think Rashad was saying something like, literally, none of us are going to escape mortality.
Mhm.
And some people live scared to do something, but and then they end up dying with that regret, right? So it's like you can make that video, do that podcast. The worst thing that's gonna happen is someone's gonna say in the comments, "Oh, you messed up," or "Oh, that was stupid." But it's like, all right, I'm still living my life. I'm still living my dream.
I have something that I think was really profound that I heard on the Model Health show.
Hmm.
Shout out to Sean. And gosh, I forgot the guy's name. Maybe Ed. I don't remember. Long story short, I he said what he believes. He seems to be a religious person. That he says that he believes that in terms of like heaven and hell,
Hmm.
he thinks that when you reach the end of your life, you will be introduced to the person that you could have been had you reached your full potential.
That's a dope concept.
And if you meet your identical twin and you know that person, that is heaven. If you meet a stranger and you get to see like, I don't even know you. Look at what you could have become. I'm nothing like you. Then that's hell.
I don't know if I like the second part of it, but I love the concept of before you die, you get to meet the full potential you, and that can be a version of heaven, especially if that's like your son, right? Your son, your nephew, like someone that you know and you've been a part of that process too. I think that is a beautiful sentiment. The no offense to this Ed guy. I don't know him, but it's like that it seems like very haterish to me. Like just because you don't know them and they're living the life that you want, that's hell. Like that's not that bad to me.
If you say so.
No, I'm just like, that's great for them. You know, but I don't want to get too far into the tangent. So for you, Sinclair, the question is, what is something that's on your list? You can have 2, 3 things, or one if you really laser focus. You know me, can't do it. I got 2 or 3 that you have to do before you leave this planet. 2 to 3 things where you're like, you know what? I would be satisfied. I would be over the moon excited when I accomplish these 2 to 3 things. Let's do separate from kids. I think we definitely want
That's like the
kids.
one I
Yeah, no,
had.
that's
Come
too
on,
easy.
bruh.
That's too easy. We definitely want kids. Not that having kids is an easy thing. But I feel like, hopefully we'll be blessed. We'll have those kids. But in addition to having the beautiful melanated chocolate children running around, dancing, yes, throwing flour all over the place. It's gonna be fun time. What's 2 more things that you for sure want to accomplish within this beautiful lifetime? I'm happy to go first if you need time to think about it.
You know that's the case.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I got you. Come on now. Y'all know I got you. All right. And if y'all are watching, go ahead and drop your answer inside the comments. What is something that you must accomplish, you will accomplish within your lifetime, right? Even if you're watching this, you're 45 years old, you're 6 years old, you're 78 years old. What's something that you still want to accomplish while you still have energy on this planet? So for me, it is building. I don't know exactly what it's going to be called. I don't know if a city is the correct term for it, but at minimum, a master plan community, right? Being able to buy an acreage of land, either just us or with investors, and being able to put a school there, to put housing there, to put a nice park where I can play basketball still. Uh, what else would be a grocery store, a health center? Yeah, just being able to have that master plan community that has all the staples within it. I think that would just be dope. Obviously, I love the history and legacy of Tulsa Black Wall Street. So to be able to learn that history, teach other people that history, but then also kind of create the cycle again by creating another one, I think it's just dope. So that's one. And then number 2 is finishing and releasing the book series that's in my head, right? You know the series. I'm not gonna say it. It's a $1 billion universe, and I'm not gonna put it out there yet. But the first book is gonna be finished this year. It's almost done. I'm on the last 3 chapters, and then I'm gonna send it to you and some other people to revise it and whatnot. But I want to finish writing that series, and then I want to make the movies of that series. I have a lot of control over the writing part. The movie part is going to be the more stressful part, but it can be animated. That makes it easier. But I feel like those are probably my 2: build the city or build a master plan community, and then write the 5 series in the book and make it into a movie. I think if I do those things, or when I do those things, I will sit back and know I achieved my 2 biggest, wildest dreams outside of marrying this gorgeous queen. I achieved my 2 biggest, wildest dreams I didn't think would be possible. Right. How about you, Queen?
For me, I would say I'll give 3. And not necessarily like I need to do these things to die happy, but the wildest dreams. Like one would be starting a Black health coach certification program. And by that I just mean basically creating a program to educate folks on how to go out and help specifically the African diaspora. I just want to create a program that is for us by us. and that is focused, utilizing research, done for and by Black folks. And then I would say a dance studio and a restaurant.
Nice. I feel like the hardest one is gonna be the certification. The dance studio, in my head, easy. Restaurant actually might be.
That's gonna be, I feel like, relatively easy to start it. Now have it be successful.
I mean, so what's the goal? Is the goal to have a successful restaurant, or is the goal to
Yes.
start a restaurant?
I feel like I want it to be a successful restaurant that can be passed down. That can be like we've talked about. Like we want to be able to like go there, be known by name, have our little table in the back,
booth.
right. Have the whole family come there, and have that be like a central place for us and our family for generations to come. Like that would be dope to create that staple, in the community. Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So again, make sure y'all put your comments there. If y'all just listening on Apple Music, Spotify, anything like that, tap in on YouTube or leave a comment on the IG. Now, Sinclair, what do you think is the worst part, most difficult part, most challenging part of being 30 or turning 30? I know you're years out, so it might be difficult for you.
I'm not years out. Gosh, he's a man. So y'all know our story. I am February 4th. He is February 9th. He is all of 360 days older than me.
A lot of days.
But he acts like he is decades older than me. So he is turning 30. I am turning 29. So I still have another year to turn up.
That's what that year's for?
No. I mean, kind of though. We're kind of doing a lot of that.
I don't know if turn up is the right word. We're doing a lot of living for sure.
Yes.
Live it up for sure.
Yeah. You're saying what is the worst part?
Yeah. In your head, what is the worst part, most challenging part, the part that you don't look forward to the most when it comes to turning 30? And you need time to think about it. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you time to think about it, right? Because we don't want the dead space in there or the empty space in there. So we're gonna go ahead and go to a quick little commercial. And when we come back, Sinclair is gonna give y'all the top 2 or 3 or 1, the top 1 reason why she is not looking forward to turning 30. We'll catch you on a second. Look, we're gonna get right back into the amazing podcast. But if you didn't know, in 2017, we created Black Wall Street, the board game, because we thought more families needed to know about the history of Tulsa Black Wall Street. More families needed to know about the legacy of Black excellence left behind of Tulsa Black Wall Street, that we can own a Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Salon. We can have a Booker T. Washington High School. We can have an Uncle Steve's Barbecue. We can have a Renaissance man like Simon Berry, who had his own taxi service and bus service that got bought out by the city of Tulsa. We have brilliance in our DNA. We wanted to make sure that your family can play a game that teaches them about this brilliance. So we have Black Wall Street, the board game, right here. We had the first edition available in 2017. That got sold out. We're on the second edition right now, or you can get the beautiful masterpiece version of the game as well. It's up to you. Head to playblackwallstreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, to empower you, your family, and generations to come. Playblackwallstreet.com. Let's get back to the episode.
So I think for me, expectations is coming to mind.
It's a great one, Sinclair.
Yeah. Expectations. I think there are a lot of expectations that come with turning 30. Not only like, when you having kids, when you starting a family, which is just ever present on us right now. Yes. But also like, I feel like when you're in your 20s, you almost have a reason to not know things. Like, oh, I'm still, he's only 28. He's only 25. You don't know that you have to actually get the propane tank filled when you buy it. Like, who knows that? You don't know that until you have to go do it. But I feel like you have a pass when you're in the 20s. I feel like once you get into 30s, it's like, well, why don't you know that? What? Come on, bruh. You ain't got life insurance. You ain't got all this stuff. Like, you don't have a will, a trust. Well, that's the type of pressure I think we should be starting to put on us, honestly. Right. But yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of, those pressures that start to be put on you when you're 30 that you don't necessarily have as much of like, you don't have an scapegoat anymore of like, oh, I'm still young, I'm still learning. It's like, no, you got to figure it out. What's going on? So yeah, I think that's what I'm not looking forward to, because again, we're already getting a peak of that when it comes to like family and children. So I'm like, then it's gonna be like, when do you have the next kid? Oh, when do you? I don't know. I don't know what else comes. Well, who knows?
35-year-olds know. But I feel you on that, and I think a lot of people feel the same way, because when I was searching for podcast topics, in case y'all don't know, there's a really good tool. It's called Answer the Public or something. You can go on there if you're looking for podcast topics. You're trying to create content for your brand. You can put in some keywords, and it'll give you like a whole bunch of different stuff in there. So little gem, little nugget for our content creators out there, social media gurus, all that good stuff. But a lot of things that came up when I put in like turning 30 is like turning 30 and still single, turning 30 and not having any friends, turning 30 and depressed, turning 30 and anxiety. Like it was mostly negative. Like there was only one thing that was semi positive, and that's the one thing, of course, that I chose for the title, because I'm a positive person, and that was turning 30. Why turning 30 is a milestone, right? And I feel like when I think of milestone, I think of like a journey.
Yeah.
And you're hitting these different milestones, and eventually you're going to finish that race. You're going to become a winner, a champion, whatever it is. But it seems like a lot of people, I don't know if it's the expectations, but a lot of people see turning 30 as a negative thing. I see it as a very positive thing.
I think it's to your point, what you said a second ago, is like, I think people realize that maybe, and I don't know how much, like, I don't know how much people know the average life expectancies. So I don't know how much that is playing into where people are considering like, oh man, I'm almost half of my lifetime. The other thing that came to mind is the retirement age of like, was it 65, right? You get access to that money. So I think that may be like where a lot of people consider like, oh, I'm old now, or you know, whatever it is.
At 30 or at 65?
At 65. So then,
so you're saying 65 isn't old?
I'm just saying,
no disrespect to nobody. No disrespect to nobody. I'm just saying 65? You know,
you're not young.
You're not young. If you getting senior discounts at IHOP, I'm just saying, if you getting them pancakes for $5.99, if you got AARP, listen, I'm just saying, it's a milestone.
I'm just saying it is a relative term, right? There's 65-year-olds out there that probably feel like they're 30. Okay,
I want to be one of them.
Right, I'm saying one of them. But I feel like that is a huge turning point or milestone of like, oh, okay, like retirement age. So I feel like to be half of that, or almost half of that, is like, dang, like, and we almost there. Like, yeah.
I had 2 points. One point was on the 65, right? I just want to put that in perspective. Again, life expectancy, not putting this on y'all that y'all are gonna live to this, because you're gonna live to 90, 106, 150. Yeah, hey, do your thing. But the fact that the average Black man is living to 69 and retirement age isn't until 65,
right?
You only get 4 years of freedom.
And so many people wait to live life.
So many people wait until 65 to go on those cruises, to take their trips to Asia, to go to the Bahamas, to live their best life, to just relax and hang out with family for the first time in years, right? And that's why, like, that's not the life that we're trying to live. That's not the life that we're trying to promote. We want y'all to live your best life as soon as possible, as soon as you're able to afford it, to grind for it. Yeah, because waiting until 65 to live that life ain't it, y'all. Right, let's figure it out. Buy that real estate, start a board game, write a book somehow, so you can get it earlier. But what was I? So I just feel like turning 30 for me puts me in almost OG status.
Explain.
I got to break down OG. Do y'all know what OG is? Am I
original gangster?
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's like
explain, like,
OG
how
status.
does that connect?
It connects because, you know, I'm working in the high schools, I work in the community colleges, around some of our friends. I'm like already semi OG status, just because I'm the oldest in the group and I've done a lot in the group.
Gotcha.
So I feel like turning officially 30, being married, like I feel like that puts you in that OG status where people come to you for the knowledge. People come to you for the support, for the wisdom. I'm writing letters of recommendation for a whole bunch of students. Like, it just puts you in a different, I think, category of life that I personally appreciate. And I think I've always been a service person. I've always been a servant leader. So the fact that I'm in a age bracket where it's even more appropriate to come to me for those things, I'm just like, I'm here for it 100%. What I don't like about turning 30 is I feel slightly disconnected from the young culture for sure.
Look,
For sure.
what is this getting sturdy nonsense?
Listen, oh, you weren't there. I don't know if I have a video, but we did the Afrofuturism class for the Boyce Watkins conference, and the kids like, "Do you know how to get sturdy?" I was like, "No, no, I do not. What is that? I feel sturdy, but I feel pretty solid, right?" They're like, "Well, can we teach you?" I was like, "All right, after the class, if y'all learn all 7 elements of Afrofuturism, then we can do it." And in my head, to be honest with you, children,
You didn't
they were like 9, 10, 11.
You underestimated the brilliant minds.
I was like, they're probably not gonna get all 7, but I underestimated their brilliant minds and underestimated my teaching ability. You feel me?
Sell yourself short.
Because I'm the #1 Black Studies teacher in the universe. You feel me? That's what we do. But yeah, at the end, they knew all 7 elements, and then they're like, "So can we just get sturdy now?" My knees couldn't handle it, Sinclair. Literally, I think Jair was still in there. My knees were hurting, and my whole quad. What's this? This is a quad. Fire. It takes a lot of youthful energy to do that. That's one of the signs that you're 30, when you can no longer get sturdy. When you don't got sturdy knees anymore, you might be 30.
Wobbly.
Yeah, if you got them wobbly.
That's why our dance is the wobble.
It makes
sense. It all makes sense.
Generational. Yes. Generational. But yeah, I feel like, again, I'm trying to hopefully shed some positivity in the turning 30, right? You going into your grown phase, and you don't necessarily need to have everything together, but we encourage you to have that direction. If you don't have that direction yet, be around people. This is where I wanted to go with this podcast. Here's the thing, Sinclair. I feel like me getting into 30, we'll talk about you next year, I need to be building my circle of people who can influence me in the right way. Right? I feel like I need to be really, really intentional about the type of kings that I'm around, because those are going to be the type of kings that I become. So I think it's important to be around the Thees of the world, the Markells of the world, just my own dad of the world. So I'm growing up, still, even 30, still thinking I'm growing up around these solid men, because there's a lot of time left, but at the same time, there's not a lot of time left. And in the grand scheme of life, I'm a history person, right? Tulsa was 100 years ago. I don't know if I have 100 years left, and I want to do a lot of things. So I'm just really very intentional about how I'm spending my time for the next 10 years, who I'm spending my time with, and making sure I know what the queen wants me to do, making sure that while I'm focusing on building that legacy, I'm also still enjoying the amazing life, children, wife, family, getting to travel. Yeah, so let's do it all.
Because to your point, you don't know how much time you have left.
Facts.
So if you just grind now to live life later,
Facts.
Who knows when later comes?
That's a fact. That's why I'm so glad we're taking this March trip and seeing a lot of the world. Hopefully we'll get to see more of the world in July when we go to your family reunion. But yeah, we sprinkle in our chips in there, do a little something, do a little something. What is I'm trying to think of a appropriate 30 story that we can tell. So again, we lived a lot of life past 2 weeks. It's been a really good time meeting a lot of our friends. Shout out to happy birthday to Ryan. We went up to Vallejo and had a whole little situation with him. Happy birthday to Daniel. We were just out there in the valley celebrating with him. And yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think especially I'll say Daniel's birthday, because he had he had his wife there. His wife threw it. We're at his house.
Mamiana.
Oh goodness, that was a whole vibe right there. He had his parents inside, which was cool. Parents were babysitting his baby, so it was just a lot of generational things happening there. And then it was also just like, you're doing it, Daniel.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You really doing it, bro.
That, if we think about that whole situation, it felt very millennial, one, but it
How so?
also,
How break that down?
it felt like wholesome in the way that, like, I don't know that, I don't know, I guess maybe not millennial is not the word, but it just felt wholesome. So like you, to your point, like, because we were outside having a good time, right? We had a little hibachi set up, right?
Yep.
Had a good dinner. Just had a lot of people, like, just camaraderie, you know, friends, old friends, new friends, all hanging out together. His parents were inside, watching the baby, right? You got the next generation. So it's like the family was all still involved in the celebration. And so, yeah, I don't know, it just felt wholesome that, like, not necessarily, like, I don't like to simplify it and say, like, you can have it all, but it did feel like you can still enjoy life, right?
Yes.
It doesn't mean like turning 30 is like you leave all of the fun things behind you and, like, right, you have a kid and now.
And I feel like that's what the messaging almost is.
Right.
It's like when you turn 30 and you are an adult, that means that you no longer have any piece of child in you.
Right.
That's not true. Right. You can be an adult, you can be paying your bills, you can have your home, you can have your family, you can have kids and still have that inner kid in you and have a good time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know about I don't have kids yet, but y'all get the point. But yeah, I see you on that. Like, it was a very family oriented, but still turned in its own wholesome way. Yeah. Queen.
Yes.
Do you have a question for me on turning 30?
What is your greatest accomplishment? And I'm going to just say, because I feel like even if you don't feel pressured, I don't want you to feel pressured to say, marrying me. Yeah, no. Aside from marrying me.
I just want to give a quick note to all my husbands out there. Never fall for it. Don't fall for the okie doke, right? The answer is always marrying you. And then once you have kids, the answer is always having kids. And then the third is whatever you had in your head. Okay, so you're welcome.
Number 1, married me. Great. What is the second greatest accomplishment that you have thus far?
Greatest accomplishment.
So, like, what are you proudest of? Like, if you once you have kids, and they would ask you, like, what's your greatest accomplishment that you've had up until now? What would you tell them?
I would probably say creating Black Wall Street, the board game, because I feel like the fact that that's in so many homes around the world. By the time we have kids, it will be in thousands of homes around the world. The fact that they'll go to school or they'll go out into the mall and maybe they'll see it and they're like, oh, my dad made that. Yeah, I feel like it is, our contribution to the culture, to history. And it's something that can never be taken away from us. Like, we are the creators of Black Wall Street, the board game. There will be at least one generation, if not many generations, of Black families that grow up playing this game. And the hopeful vision is eventually people will stop playing Monopoly, and at family reunions, it'll just be Black Wall Street, the board game, domino, and spades. Like, that's the trifecta.
Thank you for throwing spades in.
I got you, Quinn.
We got to keep spades alive, y'all.
Spades ain't going nowhere. It's just you're in California, Sinclair. You got to go. Was it south or east? South.
Okay, I know you're a positive person, so this one may be difficult for you. But what is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret, other than not starting business earlier, because I feel like, yeah, we definitely could have been doing a lot more of this stuff earlier. Biggest regret. I feel like I really don't have too many regrets, because I feel like everything does happen for a reason. And literally every tiny step, whether it was a mistake or it was a hardship, got me to here. I kind of wish I would have stuck it out with engineering, just because I feel like, me, I like doing what I said I was going to do. And I did go into college. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to do this. And although where I'm at right now, I'm perfectly happy with, and it's nowhere near engineering, I still don't like the fact that especially because I was at Davis and I was talking to some of the counselors and they were like, oh, well, you know, it is hard and it's engineering. And if you want to switch to something easier, da, da, da. And I don't like that they got that W on me.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have like, you know what? Let me buckle down. Let me get into these books. Let me have Sinclair tutor me, whatever I had to do to actually, yeah, I don't know, you were struggling too.
I'm saying.
To be honest with you. But yeah, I kind of feel like that was the one thing that I gave up on and didn't finish. Everything else, like if I was like, I'm gonna date Sinclair. Got it. I'm gonna marry Sinclair. Got it. We're gonna start this board game. Failure after failure. Still got it. I feel like that was the only thing that like I failed, and eventually I just kind of gave up and went to a different major. Yeah, that would really be my biggest thing. Not too much.
It's interesting because it's not even because of like it would have necessarily changed the outcome, but just because it's something you set out to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like having that notch. But yeah, it all worked out.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yes, queen. Yes, queen. I'm gonna ask you the same exact question, but I know you're gonna need some time. Okay. So the question for you when we get back from this commercial break is, what is your biggest regret? All right. Think about it, marinate on it, and we'll go to commercial and we'll be right back. We'll go to commercial and be right back. Oh, man. Shout out to the TV industry. All right. We're going to get back to the episode in a second, but breathe. If you've ever had a brilliant idea, I'm pretty sure everybody just took a breath right there, right? Because we all have amazing ideas, but I got a question for you. What's stopping you from taking that idea and actually making it into a business, actually executing on your brilliance? My name is Devon Truvel, and in 2018, I was able to create, market, and sell my own product while still working a 9-to-5. And through the years, I've taken the lessons we've learned, the expensive webinars that I've gone to, and the dozens of business books that I've read, and I've discovered 7 simple steps to launch your business. If you're ready to take your business idea to the next level and make it real and start making profit from your passion, head to www.launchitcommunity.com and grab yourself the book. We've been able to make it very simple, affordable, and easier than ever to start that business while still working your 9-to-5. And we take entrepreneurs every single Friday and we talk to them. We teach them about how to use social media. We teach them about how to set up their Instagram account, how to use Shopify, how to use Printful, and other tools that can help you take your business to the next level, but not take tons of time away from your 9-to-5 and your busy life that you already have. So if you're ready to take that idea to the next level, make sure you head to www.launchitcommunity.com, get yourself a book, and join our free accountability calls. Now, let's get back to the episode.
What's interesting is that probably my biggest regret is almost the opposite of yours.
Mm-hmm.
So I studied chemical engineering, went in with chemical engineering, ended with chemical engineering.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. All of that. I'll tell you, it's not all it's cracked up to be. The road was hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I got to the end of it, I was like, I don't actually want to be here. I don't want to do engineering. I didn't like there's a lot about it I didn't like. But the industry of engineering it didn't feel right to me. It didn't feel like home. It didn't feel like going to all the job fairs, listening to people talk about the jobs. It was like, this does not sound like where I want to be. Like it didn't, I don't want your job. Like you're here and everybody else like, oh my God, I can't wait to apply. I'm just like, I don't want it. It sounds like you live a boring life. I'm sorry. I don't want it. And I feel like I was much more people oriented, at least back then.
You don't like people anymore?
Just a little more tainted, living more life, having dealt with a lot of people. But yeah, I think what I would have probably done if I had the opportunity to like go back, I don't know that I would have done engineering. I probably would have pursued a passion in like nutrition or food science or something like that, because that is where my passion lies. And I think that if I could have got a head start on that, I would be much further along in that part of my career than I am now. And then also just thinking about like, I think a lot of the some of the mental blocks and some of the baggage I carry sometimes, if I think about where that stemmed from, I think some of those insecurities come from my time in engineering.
As a student or as an
As a,
employee?
I mean, both, but I was
Mm,
thinking more as a student.
mm,
I really don't like, and I'm trying not to go down a tangent here,
mm,
but the whole like part of what I think what people glorify, like, oh, you're an engineer, you toughed it out, right? Is because the whole idea is like you made it through this thing where you are expected to fail.
mm. Yep. Like there's literally a curve where 50% will be like an A or a B.
I literally had a class where 34% was the curve. 34%, you are expected to fail, and you get used to that after a while. And I think that messed with me after a while. It's just like I don't like that every time I set out to do a test or an assignment or whatever, I get back this just subpar score, and I'm just expected to be like, yeah.
Is that why you were so excited when you got these hundreds on these scuba tests?
Look, every 100 I get is a win. A win is a win.
She'd be like, yes, 100. I'm like, yep. Again, you did it.
Yeah. Again.
Again, it's been 100 every quiz, Sinclair. You know your stuff. All right?
But yeah, I don't necessarily like that about engineering. And I get it's hard and it's a tough industry and all that, but I don't like that part about at least going through engineering as a student. I think that starts to get to the mindset. I think that adds just so much more stress. It's just a very stressful thing to study and go into. I think even like those types of jobs, those are the types of jobs where you go into and you're just, depending on where you are in the industry, but expected to be like on call all the time. And just, it's supposed to be your life. Like some of those jobs, like you got to move to like random places in the country where it's like, do you really live a life out there? Like you just work. And it's like, that just wasn't the type of life that I was trying to live. And so, yeah, if I were to go back, like it does feel good. Kind of I know it does feel good.
You know it feels good, Sinclair. Every time you say chemical engineer, everyone's like, oh, really?
And it feels good. But again, there's always that aspect of I barely made it.
Doesn't matter, Sinclair.
And that's what I have to remind myself. But it's still there. That's what I'm saying. Like it messed with me. Because it's like I still got the degree. Like it's hanging up. It's not hanging up anywhere, honestly. I think it's in my parents' house. They might have I don't even know where it is. I don't even know where it is. But the idea is like I look about it and I just think about all the struggle. Like I think about the fact that I barely made it by, and it doesn't feel like a triumph because again, you just get used to failing, and then you just fail your way to a degree. And it's like maybe the people who were setting the curves feel differently, but it doesn't feel as much of a triumph as it should. I feel like because I barely squeaked by.
I feel like there's something deep that I want to say there. It's not coming together in my head the way that I want it to.
Okay.
Right. But I feel like the gist of what I'm trying to say is a win is a win.
A win is a win.
A win is a win. And I think, there's people that fight through entrepreneurship and they're scraping by. They started their podcast with iPhones and scraping by. And then now they're the biggest podcast in the world. I'm talking about Earn Your Leisure. Right. So I feel like, yes, it was very difficult for you to get the degree, but you got the degree. There's people who switched their major who didn't get the degree. There's people who dropped out of college and didn't get the degree. There's people who took 15 years to get the degree, and you got your degree, your way, your journey, and you got it. And I feel like you can connect that same thing to turning 30, turning 40, turning 50. It's like no matter how you got to this age, no matter how you got to this day, you're here now. So now it's celebrate the victory. And what are you going to do with that knowledge? What are you going to do with that W?
Yeah. I think that's like
came together decent.
It did. That was good. That was good.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I think that is like the perfectionist mindset that I need to get out of. Yes. Of the like, if you're not doing it perfectly, it doesn't count. Where it's like, no, you did it. So good job. Yes. Right. Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yes, you are, Queen. And I feel like once you unlock your perfectionist mindset, it's gonna be dangerous. Yeah. Yes, because you have a lot of great ideas that you don't execute on because you're afraid of it not being perfect. So I feel like once we unlock your perfectionist brain, it is going to be dangerous.
That's what I need to work on. That's gonna be my goal before I turn 30.
Turn your 30? Yes, please do. Release
yourself. Y'all just gonna be seeing me do a lot of failing this year.
Yes, that's what Yes. And the great thing is, not to toot my own horn, but because we failed to a certain point with Play Black Wall Street, and now we're at a point where we're in a zone with Play Black Wall Street, we can afford for you to fail in other things, and then next year you find your zone and whatever it is. I think we're at that point. Whereas like before, when we were doing Play Black Wall Street, and we had Potluck that was struggling. Shout out to Potluck. Potluck was struggling. Play Black Wall Street was finding its identity.
Under my belt.
Yes, and that's a L for all of us. The whole family took that L. The whole family just put that L on its back. But yeah, I feel like it was a struggle with doing Potluck at the same time, Play Black Wall Street at the same time. So we dropped Potluck to put more energy into Play Black Wall Street, which was a very hard sacrifice and thing to do, but it paid off.
Yeah, worth it.
And it's well worth it. And we're seeing the momentum for Play Black Wall Street. We're getting a rhythm. We're getting a system for Play Black Wall Street to where that's almost going on autopilot within the next year or two. So now it's our time to not necessarily like, yes, you fail, but really plant a whole bunch of seeds for you. Plant the seed in, writing your book. Plant the seed in the health coaching. Plant the seed in doing health webinars, whatever. Let's plant all the seeds and doing the retreats. Let's plant a whole bunch of seeds this year. And by next year, what sprouts? And then whatever sprouting, cool. We're going to water that. We're going to give that sunshine, give that more nutrients. And then we're going to see that grow into whatever type of plant your stuff grows into.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm excited. Let's release the queen, right? We already freed the queen. Now we got to release her full potential. I'm excited. Yeah. Like release the Kraken.
Yeah, that's what I had in mind.
You a beast, girl. Come on now. Let's get it. All right. So we appreciate y'all for rocking with us. Queen, are you good?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. So are you good? You solid? All right. So we gotta get into some updates, y'all. I'll go first, and if the queen has any updates, she can definitely give those as well. No, you ain't got nothing. All right. Well, y'all already know what mine is. PlayBlackWallStreet.com. Black History Month is just around the corner. So you got a game, Sinclair?
I got a game.
You got a lot of games. You got all the games, right?
The games.
Make sure y'all go to PlayBlackWallStreet.com and get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, for yourself, for your family, for a scholar, for a teacher that you know. That would be actually a really good gift for a teacher that you know within inside middle school or high school. Go ahead and gift them Black Wall Street, the board game, Black History Month. We appreciate you. There's about maybe 1,000 maybe in stock. It's a busy month for us. We got the Black Cause. It's not a lot. We got the Black Cause Expo next week, and there's 10,000 people at that expo. We got all types of speaking engagements, and every speaking engagement we give away Black Wall Street, the board games, like candy. Shout out to Oprah, right? You get a board game, you get a board game, you get a board game. We got some bulk orders coming in April too. So yeah, you go ahead and get you a game. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. PlayBlackWallStreet.com. Get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game, and celebrate the legacy, the wisdom, and the wealth of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. Queen.
Yes.
I do want you to do the honors of starting this moment of silence, if you don't mind.
Is this for?
Yes, of course it is for the king.
For King. All right. Yes. So this is going to be a moment of silence for my Uncle Andre, who passed. We just went to his funeral, his celebration of life. So we'll give him a moment of silence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, y'all, for tapping into the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. I'm your host, Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, a.k.a. the Health Nerd.
Make sure y'all secure the marriage. Make sure y'all secure the love. And, of course, make sure y'all secure the bag. Peace. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening. Go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time.